Ripping off JobKeeper. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Still working through my morning stein of coffee. I thought we'd have a look at this article from the Sydney Morning Herald discussing, well, tip-offs where employers are potentially cheating staff on JobKeeper. So let's have a look at this one because, well, handing out money just to any old business to keep them going with JobKeeper, I'm not surprised. You are going to have some situations where employers are going to take advantage of it. There's situations where people probably don't even need it, but are going to get it because they will be worse off financially if they didn't. If your competitor is getting free money and you don't take it, well, you're worse off, one way or another. The tax office is sifting through thousands of tip-offs about businesses enrolled in the JobKeeper scheme, allegedly ripping off employees. The ATO Deputy Commissioner, James O'Halloran, said the agency had received 3,338 tip-offs about JobKeeper as of May 31, mostly from employees who believe they are not being paid correctly. I wonder how many of those will just be people who don't understand how it actually works. We can advise, remember, a lot of people thought they would get the full $1,500. They didn't think they'd be taxed on it. We can advise that the majority of calls are centered on the employee eligibility and payment issues between employers and employees, he said. We take all information referred to us seriously and protect the compliance identity in accordance with the law requiring whistleblower protection. Do you do that with regards to people in your own industry? In the ATO? Because that's a whole other story, isn't it? Some of the issues that are happening there. But we'll discuss that in another episode, I'm sure. About 3.5 million Australians are supported by the $70 billion JobKeeper scheme, with the $1,500 a fortnight wage subsidy paid by the government via the employer's payroll. Well, see, it's not really for the employee. It's a subsidy for the businesses. It's a subsidy for the businesses to keep their staff on the books. That's what it is. And to fudge the numbers so unemployment isn't seen as, well, drastically high as it is. Maybe that's just the cynic in me. I think it's also to reduce the burden on Centrelink. Imagine that, another 3.5 million people instantly turning up there for payments. What do you think would happen there? It'd be a nightmare. There are strict conditions for companies using JobKeeper, including a one-in, all-in principle, which means they must enroll all eligible staff, and rules about pay and conditions. So you can see here, I mean, this is the state telling you how to run your business. I'm sure there's some businesses who will just get rid of the dead weight. The Fair Work Ombudsman lists special pandemic provisions that allow businesses to direct employees to take annual leave, as long as the staff member will still have 10 days leave remaining. However, this does not apply to other sorts of leave, such as long service leave. A Treasury spokesman confirmed employees in the JobKeeper scheme must be paid their normal rate of pay while on leave, even if it is higher than the $1,500 a fortnight. The business can still claim JobKeeper as a subsidy towards paying leave entitlements. The Sun Herald has heard from a number of workers at both small and large companies whose employers seem to be flouting the rules. I feel sorry for the employers. I feel sorry for the businesses. This seems like a nightmare. Could you imagine this? Your business has been forcefully shut down by the state. You've got this thing implemented to help keep your staff going. You've got staff insisting they want this. They want the free money. And then they're going to dob you in due to probably a technicality. Remember, you've got to front run this as a business too. You've got no money coming in. You've got to front run it. You've got to pay your staff no matter what. In one case, a woman in an administration role at a medium-sized company in Sydney was forced to take long service leave without the usual notice period. She was only paid the $1,500 a fortnight JobKeeper payment while on leave, but normally earned significantly more. The Sun Herald has seen the employer's letter and pay slips to verifying this. See, long service leave, I don't even understand the point of long service leave. Can someone please explain that to me? Shouldn't you be glad to have had a job for that period of time? Not need your employer to hold a portion, because that's your money. That's a cost of employing you. Your business, your employer needs to hold that aside rather than paying for you just in a normally week, they will hold aside that because, you need to get a reward for being there a long time. Isn't having a job a long time a reward? I don't get it. This just shows you how complex our employment relations here in Australia, how much bullshit there is. The sense of entitlement. Could you imagine trying to take long service leave from a bunch of boomers away? And what happens when a business goes under? You may not get it. They may not have it. They may not have the cash. That's the thing. That's the risk you're taking. All these perks that you're getting is essentially them saying, you're too stupid to manage your own finances, so we'll hold something aside for you and then give it to you like you feel like something special. So this is the unions and all these organizations taking your own money, getting held away from you, and then paying it back to you later to make you feel like you've got something. It's a complete dodge. If these things didn't exist, then people would get paid more because businesses would use that money to get better people. If you don't think you'll get paid more, you're probably not that useful then. Just look up the Pareto principle. Anyway, back to this. Enough of my rant. In another case, a Sydney chef complains his employer deducted annual leave while only paying JobKeeper rather than his usual higher salary. Some employees say they've been directed to take leave even if it leaves them with zero or negative leave balance. Some employers are claiming they can do this because of the federal court decision that upheld Qantas's policy to not allow employees to take sick leave while stood down. Employers, so this just shows you, this is an entire mess, guys. This is an entire bloody mess, this whole situation. We can end this a lot quicker. They need to look at opening up businesses. They need to look at ending this whole debacle. It's going to cause a lot of social issues. How many of these workers don't have enough money set aside to allow for this emergency? If this starts getting, people start getting nabbed, if this starts going to court, if this starts going to tribunals, how many businesses will just go, nope, stuff it, I'll fire everyone. I don't care. I'm not taking the JobKeeper. And then bring people back, going, do you want your job back? Later. Because that's another thing that could happen, everyone. I guess most of these people don't understand some of the challenges in running a business, particularly a small business. And that's my bias coming through there. I admit that. I mean, this would have been a nightmare for us. Just thinking back when I had 10, 12 people having a cash flow all that with no income coming in. But we're a little different. We probably could have kept going. But if you were running a cafe, it would be a nightmare. Employees have also told the Sun Herald their bosses are using people's fear of unemployment to impose permanent pay cuts of up to 40% or move people in permanent roles to fixed-term contracts without paying redundancy. Well, yeah, you can you do that under these extreme circumstances? Tim Peterson, HOSPO voice coordinator at United Workers Union, said members recently shared stories in a survey. One employer tried to pocket the difference between the low-paid workers' usual wages and JobKeeper, while another boss claimed employees would have to work increased hours to get JobKeeper or make up the hours later. Well, this is the thing. You shouldn't be claiming the difference. You should only pay them what they're entitled to. And, well, if they're getting more money than they are entitled to, then why shouldn't they have to work more hours? Mr. O'Halloran said tip-offs to the tax office included claims businesses are fraudulently claiming JobKeeper because they did not meet the eligibility requirements. Businesses with a turnover under $1 billion must have a 30% reduction in turnover, while bigger businesses must show turnover has halved. However, most complaints about payment to employees, including disagreements about employee eligibility, problems related to termination, redundancy, and stand-downs, disputes about increasing or decreasing employee hours of work or location, and allegations about incorrect payment or misuse of annual leave. I mean, this just sounds like a complete and utter mess. This whole thing. I mean, it was rolled out so quick. And I still think it's mainly to hide the unemployment numbers and to ensure you don't have 3.5 million people lining up at Centrelink when, we've got a pandemic going around. But we'll see. We've had our protests now. We've had the real life experiments. We'll see if there's, a lift up with that, or if we, or if they show us that we can open up the economy and create more activity. Hell, we even had one person infected in Melbourne. So there you go. Perfect laboratory. Real world example, not even lab. Mr. O'Halloran said it was probably only a small number of employees doing the wrong thing, but the tax office would follow up tip-offs and also refer matters to the Fair Work Ombudsman where appropriate. And here's the thing. This is the risk of having employees, everyone. A Fair Work a FWO spokesperson said the frontline team dealt with 1,000 customer-related inquiries a day about the pandemic through May, mostly from employees. 8 out of 10 pandemic inquiries were about JobKeeper. Assisting with workplace issues created by the pandemic is our number one priority, the spokesperson said. We've diverted some of our resources internally and brought on new staff with additional funding to bolster our capabilities to respond to the needs of the public. So they're hiring. So what do you think about all of this, guys? I mean, this just shows you the type of mess that a situation like this can arise. I feel sorry for the employees, particularly in the smaller businesses, because they have to front load a lot of this. And there's a lot of workers that it's going to cause relationship issues with employers and employees. This is a mess. This really is a mess. What do you think, guys? Who do you think's in the right? Who do you think's in the wrong? Do you think the government should be forcing businesses to close down like this? Will this mitigate potential claims for lost revenue that people would have against the state? But I'm sure they've got legislation to allow them to get out of any of that liability. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us via our affiliate links at Amazon or eBay or Independent Reserve and Kucoin. You can buy our merch from HeiseSays. You can support us using Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or you can use PayPal. Take care. I'll see you all next time.